Good, e- good evening to all of you. By taking into account the request of some of my friends, I want to give the commerce, okay, brush up or commerce revision for this UGC net exams. And there are so many topics that we come across. Okay, there are so many topics, there are so many units that we come across. And in this video class, I'm going to take into account the accountancy and audit. Okay, these are the things that I want to tell. And after this, I'm going to take into account the statistics, business statistics, and investigation. Okay, when you take into account the accountant, accounting, and auditing, actually, this accounting and auditing, they are nothing but the two processes that we come across in this subject accountancy. When you take into accountancy the subject, Lucas Falcioli in 15th century, he introduced this accountancy subject. And this accountancy subject, it depends upon three important topics. The three important topics: bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing. The primary function is nothing but bookkeeping. In bookkeeping, we'll come across identification of transactions and recording of transactions. Now, you may come across a doubt that what is a transaction? Actions and reactions of an event, past event, which are measured in terms of money or money's worth, is nothing but a transaction. When you come to business, we'll take into account monetary transactions, but not non-monetary transactions. You'll come across monetary transactions as well as non-monetary transactions in the business. But thing is, when you want to know the profit amount or loss amount of a business, we have to take into account only the monetary transactions, but not the non-monetary transactions. So when you go for monetary transactions, first of all, you have to identify them. That is identification of transactions. And then you'll come across recording of transactions. Identification of transactions, it's simply, you can take it as an example that when we go to a market and carrying with a bag in hand, we'll purchase so many things, so many vegetables. Okay, we'll purchase onions, we'll purchase lady's finger, we'll purchase brinjal, all these things we'll purchase and we'll keep that in the bag. Okay, so we are identifying those things and we are taking those things and we are putting in the same bag. And when you return back, automatically you are going to differentiate that. And how much is the expenditure that we come across for the purchase of vegetables like onions, brinjal, lady's finger, and all those other items we'll take into account and we'll record them. Thereby, we cannot able to forget that. In the same way, identifying the monetary transactions and recording the monetary transactions in chronological way, it gives us the bookkeeping. That is the first and primary function of accountancy subject. So bookkeeping, a person who is capable of identifying and recording the transactions, okay, we'll call him as a bookkeeper. And the primary duty of the bookkeeper is to identify the transactions and record them in a chronological manner. That is the function that we come across when we go for bookkeeping. And where the bookkeeping ends, from there the accounting process will start. In accountancy, in accounting, see, one thing I want to tell you in this context is accounting and accountancy, they are synonymously used. They are synonymously used by some people. But actual meaning of accountancy is nothing but a subject. And accounting is nothing but a process that we come across in the subject. So when you are going for accounting, okay, there you will come across 5 functions. And all these 5 functions, they relate to the process accounting. Okay, after classifying and after recording, you will have after identifying and recording, not classifying. After identifying and recording, you'll come across classifying. We have to divide the transactions into different classes. Like these are monetary transactions, these are non-monetary transactions. Like that, we have to classify. So classification of the transactions is the first and foremost part in this accounting process. Then after that, okay, summarizing the transactions. See, you have to write small, brief notes for each and everything after classifying that. So that is nothing but summarizing of transactions. And after classifying and summarizing, you'll come across analysis of transactions. We have to analyze these transactions because every businessman, they want to know the profit amount or loss amount. When he can analyze the transactions in such a manner, he can be in a position to know what happened. So that thing is nothing but analysis of transactions. And in this context, I'm going to give a small example. When a person, when he's getting fever regularly, and when he consults a doctor, the doctor, without proper diagnosis, if he give medicines for this fever, the fever will suppress, but the inner disease, it will be there. So an intellectual doctor, what he has to do is, why this man is getting fever every time? He has to analyze and he has to locate the inner disease. And when he give for the inner disease, automatically the inner disease will be purified. Thereby, there won't be any symptoms of fever. And for any disease, mind it, the symptom is nothing but getting fever. Whether it is corona or whatever it may be, the other disease, the symptom is nothing but getting fever. By getting fever, when we should not take into account what is in the fever only, and we can suppress that fever. We have to go and we have to consult a doctor, and the doctor, as an intellectual person, he has to diagnose, he has to do complete diagnosis and perfect diagnosis, and he has to locate the inner disease. Okay, he has to locate the inner disease, he has to identify the inner disease, and he has to give medicine for the purification of the inner disease. That is complete analysis. In the same way, a businessman, he has to analyze the transactions, what had happened. Okay, because in monetary transactions, you'll come across cash transactions one side and credit transactions one side. You cannot take all the transactions as cash transactions, because when you want to get profit amount, okay, it is not by this cash transactions only. It is by the credit transactions also you will come across the profitability. You can be in a position to know the profitability. Mere taking the cash transactions and recording them and thinking that we are going to get profit, it is nothing but a fun. We have to go for credit transactions. So why you are telling like this, sir? You may ask me. When you are going for this credit transactions, you will have regular customers. And the regular customers, they won't go to any shop, any other shop. They'll come to that particular businessman. And whatever it may be the price, they're willing to take that. Why? Because that person is giving credit. That is postponement of cash, payment of cash, postponement of payment of cash. There is no necessity for the person, for the customer to pay then and there itself the cash amount. He can give afterwards. So when credit transactions are there, then only the businessman can be in a position to know the profitability of his business. So like this, what are the cash transactions and what are the credit transactions, he has to analysis. Thereby, he will have a clear-cut idea regarding the cash transactions as well as the credit transactions. Okay, how many debtors are there, how many creditors are there, all these things. Because he is also going to purchase on credit basis only. Don't be of that opinion that he will purchase for cash only. He will also purchase the goods on credit basis, because when he may, it is not okay the thing that he will have cash every time. Sometimes the cash may not be available for the businessman. In that case, he has to opt for the credit transactions. When he is purchasing on credit, in the same way he has to sell on credit. Thereby he will have some regular customers with him. Okay, like this analysis must be done. Analysis of transactions must be done. Then after analysis of transaction, interpretation of transactions. So what is this interpretation of transactions? Usage of transactions. Okay, by taking into account some rules and regulations, he has to use, okay, he has to use the rules and regulations to these transactions. Thereby he can be in a position to know the profitability or profit amount. Okay, so like this, we have to go for interpretation. Interpretation is nothing but, okay, usage or using. Just 1 minute, just 1 minute. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, there is an interruption, please. Okay, now analysis of transactions. After completion of analysis of transactions, you'll come across interpretation of transactions. That is by taking into account the some rules and regulations. Okay, the businessman, he has to take into account the rules and regulations, and he has to take the transactions, and he has to do some usage. Thereby he'll come to know about the trading results, okay, whatever he come across. Thereby he will have satisfaction. You will have satisfaction, please. Okay, like this, you'll come across the interpretation of transactions. And after that, you have to go for communication of transactions. The businessman, he has to communicate whether he got profit amount or loss amount. Unless otherwise, okay, no one will come to know about that. He has to communicate to those persons who are interested in knowing the profitability of the business or concern, whatever it may be. So this is about the 5 functions that we come across when you go for accounting process. Okay, so altogether we are having 7 functions, 2 in bookkeeping and 5 in accounting process. And after completion of the accounting process, after preparation of the financial statements, the third process will start. That is nothing but auditing. And this auditing is nothing but the verification of the books and location of the errors and frauds, whatever they come across. Because a person, when he is doing this accountancy and accounting work, not accountancy, accounting work, okay, Sometimes he can do in a good manner, and sometimes he may come across some mistakes, some mistakes or errors. So those errors, he may not be in a position to identify and locate where they are. So for that, the third process, that is nothing but auditing, it will help. The auditor, that is a person who is supposed to verify the books and books of accounts, that is the financial statements in the books of accounts. He can be in a position to locate the errors, and he can be in a position to bring them to the notice of the accountant. Thereby, the accountant, he can be in a position to rectify them, and he can be in a position to continue according to the instructions given by the auditor. There is no chance for the accountant to commit the same type of mistakes hereafterwards in the future period of time. That is nothing but the auditing. So accountants is subject. It depends upon three important processes. Those are bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing. Okay, fine. Now, some people they have a doubt that whether this book accountancy subject is an art or a science. Some people they believe that it is science, and some people they'll believe that it is nothing but an art. But actually speaking, accountancy subject is both a science as well as an art. As a science, it will have some principles, and as an art, it is the duty of the person, okay, to use and to take into account the proper, sorry, the proper way in taking all the things, all the functions, in conducting all the functions, and see that the financial statements are to be prepared in a well versed manner, and which gives us the profitability or the loss. So it is nothing but the art. But as a science, it has to follow some principles, and those principles we'll call them as accounting principles. Okay. Now, when you go for accounting principles, we'll have 14 principles, please. Okay. And we can divide this accounting principles into two parts: accounting concepts and accounting postulates. Postulates are nothing but the conventions that we come across. And what are conventions? Conventions are nothing but the guidelines that we have to, that every person who is dealing with commerce and accountancy, okay, subjects, they have to follow. Wherever it may be, wherever they are, taking into account the nook and corner, okay, they have to follow that, okay, guidelines. And accounting concepts are nothing but the rules and regulations that the business people they have to follow. And these rules and regulations, they are established by the institution ICMR, Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of India, London. These rules and regulations are established by ICMR London, and every person who is dealing with the business activities or, I mean, commerce activities, they must know the rules and regulations. What are they? Okay. Now, accounting concepts are 10 in number, whereas accounting postulates or conventions are 4 in number. So total 14 principles. When you go for management, how Henry Fourier, how he had given 14 principles of management. In the same way, accountancy subject is also having 14 principles. Okay, 10 are the rules and regulations, and 4 are nothing but the guidelines. So postulates are conventions. They are one and the same. Don't get yourself confused. Postulates or conventions, they are one and the same. They are not different, please. People, please follow this. Okay. Now, coming to concepts, that is rules and regulations. We'll call them all, okay, accounting concepts. And we are having 10 concepts with us in accountancy subject. Those are, first one is business entity concept. Business entity concept. That is the first one that we come across. Okay. The second one is going concern concept. And third one is money measurement concept. Fourth one is cost concept. And the fifth one is accounting period concept. Sixth one is matching concept. And seventh one is accrual concept. And eighth one is dual aspect concept. Ninth one is realization concept. And the 10th one is objective evidence concept. These are the 10 concepts that we come across. And some of the lecturers and some of the teachers, they are taking into account only the important things and important concepts, and they are giving to their students. This is not fair. This is not fair. What I'm telling you is, whatever it may be, the concepts you have to tell them. Okay, completely, please. Don't forget that. Okay, if you are doing this, okay, people, they can be in a position to understand what is their concepts. When you hide some of the concepts and what are the very important concepts, okay, it is not fair at all. So please don't do that mistake, please. Whatever it may be, the concept that we come across in the subject accountancy, you have to reveal them. You have to reveal them. Sir, how far they can able to understand? It is none of your business. It is none of your business how far they will take. But it is your duty to inform them all the 10 concepts. It is the duty of you to explain each and everything. Thereby the people, they can able to understand. Okay, some people they can able to understand and some people they cannot be in a position to understand. Forget about that. It is your duty to tell or inform that the accounting concepts are 10 in number. Coming to postulates or conventions, there are 4, and you have to tell the 4 concepts. Thereby, people will have an idea, and tomorrow they can be in a position to represent, okay, represent in their examinations. So, coming to business entity concept, every business will have its own identification, like how a human being it is or she is having an identification. In the same way, every business unit will have its own identification. That is, a businessman, he cannot treat himself as and his business as one and the same. I am separate and my business is separate. Like that only he has to look after. Then only he can be in a position to understand what is the profit amount that he is going to get and what is the loss that he is going to incur. So you have to identify the business as a separate individual. That is about the business entity concept that we come across. And coming to the next one, that is going concern concept. This is very peculiar place. This is very peculiar. Okay, suppose I'll give an example in this. Suppose if you meet any other person, you'll ask, how are you? And the other person, he will say, yes, I'm all right. Okay, but he won't reveal the diseases, whatever he is having, and whatever the things that bad things that he's having, he won't reveal. Yes, I'm going fine. So this going concern concept, it tells us that whatever it may be the type of business that you are taking, when any person asks, how is your business? Okay, it's going on. It's going on. It's going on. But you should not utter the word, it's gone. When you utter the word, it's gone means people, they don't have any confidence on your business. This man itself, he himself is telling that his business had gone. Then why should we go to that man and why should we do business with with that person? Like that, an opinion, okay, it will come to the public. So whatever it may be, you have to tell that my business is going on, carrying, but you should not utter the word it had gone. This is about the going concern concept. Okay, if you meet any person, see the peculiarity. If you meet any person, if you ask him, how are you? Fine, I'm fine. But he won't reveal anything. Why should he reveal? What is the usage in revealing? You cannot do anything to that person, isn't it? So every time when you go for this business, okay, you have to tell that my business is going on, going on, going on. But you should not utter the word gone. Okay, that is the second concept that we come across. And next, third one is money measurement concept. Okay, everything, it will have a measurement rod, a measurement unit. Like how you take the distance, you will measure that in kilometers, meters and kilometers. If you take liquids, okay, liters and milliliters. If you take into account the weights, kgs and grams, in the same way, every business is to be measured in terms of money only. Okay, so money measurement concept, every transaction, whatever you come across, you have to measure in terms of money only. So that is the third concept that we come across, money measurement concept. Now, coming to the fourth concept. Okay, fourth concept is nothing but cost concept. What is this cost concept? You, every person, every businessman, he has to like take into account the cost, okay, of that. In common man's language, cost and price, they are one and the same. But when you go for a businessman, cost is different and price is different. Okay, there is a slightest difference between cost and price. Okay, the slightest difference will give you the profit amount or the loss amount. So every businessman, whomever it may be and whatever it may be, even if you take a sole trade business or a big joint stock company, those people, they have to take into account the cost. When they keep the cost in their control, they can increase the profit amount. That is, they can fix the prices and thereby they can be in a position to get the profit amount or loss amount. So every time a businessman, he must look after him, he must go after the cost only, but he should not think about the price. When he come across the cost, when he keep the cost in his control, automatically he can fix the price. Some people, they are selling the goods at cost price. That is, whatever it may be, the cost, they are selling that for that. And some people, they are keeping some extra amount over the cost, and that thing, they'll get the profit amount. And when they sell below the cost, they are going to incur the losses. So every time, every business unit or every businessman, they have to take into account the cost. And one more thing is, they should not reveal that to any person. They should not reveal that to any person. Suppose if you go to a shop and if you ask a commodity and if you ask him the cost of that, he won't tell that. Why? Because it is a trade secret. If you reveal the cost, then automatically you can be in a position to estimate the profit amount, that how much is getting. Is it so necessary? Is it so necessary? No, it is not necessary. It is a business the secret. So every person, they have to concentrate on the cost of the product. Okay, so this is about cost concept. Now, accounting period concept. How you are keeping a break. In the same way, this accounting process also, it should be stopped at a regular, at a point of period, it should be stopped. Okay, in this context, I'm going to give you an example. You will wake up in the morning and you will take rest in the night. Why you have to do like that? Why don't you wake up in the night also? Because up from morning to night, you have work and your body, it wants some rest. That's why you are going to sleep. So whatever it may be the period that you come across, whatever it may be the period that you are taking rest, it will give some strength in the next day. That is, you are stopping your activities You are stopping your activities, whatever it may be, the activities, movements, okay, in the night, and you are going for rest. Thereby, you can be in a position to regain the strength for tomorrow. In the same way, every business unit, it has to stop. And what is the time period? The time period is 12 months, 12 months or 1 year. And that thing, we'll call that thing as accounting period concept. The accounting period concept, it ranges 12 months. It may be from 1st January to 31st December. That is, some people they'll go for calendar year, or some people they'll go for financial year. That is 1st April to next year, March 31st. But they must stop. That is, they have to close the books by 31st March. And again, they have to start. So that 12 months gap period, we will call that thing as accounting period. And that is very, very essential for any business unit, whether it may be a sole trade business or a partnership business or a joint stock company or a cooperative society. It is compulsory. This is about the accounting period concept. Now, matching concept. So whatever it may be, the incomes and whatever it may be, the expenses that we come across of that year, we have to match with that period of time, but you should not carry forward to the next year. Whatever it may be, the expenses, whatever it may be, the incomes that you come across of that year, which you won't take when you are preparing the accounts, because some incomes and some expenses you will come across after preparation of trial balance. So whatever it may be, the incomes and whatever it may be, the expenses that you come across, you have to match with that period of time only. That is nothing but matching concept. And please keep it in mind that the matching concept will follow the accounting period concept. It won't be far away. Okay, it won't be far away. It like the preceder, it will go after accounting period concept. So matching concept is over. Now we are going for accrual concept. Accrual concept is nothing but adding concept. We have to add. We have to add. Thereby, you will come to know about the total expenditure as well as total income. And this accounting concept, it tells us that you should not take into account the first things. You have to take into account, you have to see whether there are any such type of things that you come across. So whenever you come across such type of things, okay, what you have to do is you have to add, whether it may be in income or an expenditure. That is nothing but accrual concept. Accrual concept, some people they'll say that adding concept. It is not a subtracting concept, place. It is nothing but an adding concept. Okay, for in this context, I'm going to give. Suppose if you keep some provision for depreciation of a asset. Okay, every year you have to provide that much amount. So what is going to happen, sir? This provision, whatever you are keeping every year, it will be accumulated, it will be added. So thereby, you'll come to know the actual amount of provision for depreciation. Actual amount of depreciation is different and provision for depreciation is different. People, they have to note down this. So this is nothing but accrual concept. Now coming to the next one, dual aspect concept. When you go for accountancy subject, it is not a mono type, it is a dual type. That is, you have to take into account the benefit given as well as benefit received. You have to record the benefit given as well as benefit received. Then only, okay, we can say that we completed a transaction. If you take into account only the benefit given, there is no usage. Similarly, when you take into account what is the benefit that you receive, it is also mere waste. So you have to take into account both what is the benefit given as well as benefit received. So dual aspect means two aspects. you have to take into account the two aspects. That is how we are taking actions and reactions of any event. In the same way, you have to take into account the dual aspect. So the dual aspect takes into account that whatever it may be, the reactions and actions that we come across, whatever it may be, the amounts that we have given or we have taken, you have to record them. So that is nothing but dual aspect concept. Now, after the dual aspect concept, realization concept. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. Everything, whatever you are having, it must be or they must be realized in the market. Unless otherwise they are not realized, it is mere waste to take into account the business activities. Whether you take an asset, whether it is having a realizable value or not, you have to take into account that thing. You must be very cautious in that. Okay, some amount. Okay, don't go for this amount only, particular amount only. Some amount, whether we are getting from selling that. That is, whether the asset is having a realizable value or not, we have to take into account that thing. When you take that thing, automatically your business transactions or your business will go in a smooth way. Okay, whenever the business is not running properly, just take all the assets, whatever you are having, and realize them in the market, and whatever it may be, the debts that you are having, you can clarify, you can clear them, and you can be in a happiest mood. Then you will become a happy, free bird. So realization concept is very, very important. And the last one is objective evidence concept. Here in India, everything they requires is evidence. Okay, they are required this evidence. Without evidence, no one is going to accept that. No one is going to believe that. So objective evidence. For what purpose you are doing that? There should be an evidence. For example, if you want to purchase a commodity, there should be a purchase bill or purchase invoice. Then only people they will believe that, oh, this man he purchased the goods. When you are going to sell any commodity, there you have to submit the sales invoice or sales bill. Then only people they will believe that this man he is okay. He has a proof. Evidence means proof. Then only they will believe. So without evidence and without proof, no one is going to believe that the transactions had completed. So these are the 10 concepts that we come across. And after that, we are going for the postulates or conventions. What are conventions? Conventions are nothing but the guidelines that we come across that every accountant, wherever it may be, from nook and corner, he must understand and he must follow that. So these are nothing but the guidelines or conventions or postulates. Some people they'll call them as postulates and some people they'll call them as conventions. Whatever it may be, they are compulsory for an accountant. Okay, what are the 4 conventions? Convention of consistency. Okay, you must be consistent. You must be consistent in the work what you are doing. Okay, you should not go in a haphazard manner. Okay, consistency. When you maintain this consistency, people they will have confidence on you. And when you go in a haphazard manner, no one will have any confidence on you. So that consistency you have to maintain. And whenever you want to change, you have to inform them. See, up to this extent, I'm just following this method. And from this stage onwards, I'm going to follow this another method. So when you be in a position to tell that to the people, okay, then they will feel happy. They'll feel happy and they can able to understand, oh, this man, this up to this extent he followed this, and up to this from this extent he is following like this. So consistency is very, very important for an accountant. Okay, next, convention of full disclosure. Convention of full disclosure. You see, the management or the proprietors or the owners, they won't reveal all the things, but It is the duty of the accountant to take the complete information, unless otherwise he cannot approach or you cannot forego or you cannot go forth. So whatever it may be, the information that you require, you have to collect. It is your responsibility to collect from the owners, from the managers, from the proprietors. I want the complete information regarding this. Then only I can go further. If you won't submit, I'll stop here. Simply. So it is your responsibility. It is the responsibility of the accountant who is dealing with accounts to get the complete information. Even though they won't reveal, it is your duty to take that. That is nothing but convention of full disclosure. Next, third one is convention of materiality. Okay, after getting the complete information, you have to decide which one is important and which one is not important, which information is materialistic and which information is immaterialistic. So that materialistic information only you have to take and you have to do some process, thereby you will get the desired results. So convention of materiality. And last one is convention of conservatism or prudence. So whatever it may be, you must be in a position to tell that. Okay, whether you get loss or whether you get profit amount, you must be in a position to tell that openly without hiding anything. You should not feel that, array, those people, they'll feel. It's not that feeling, please. I'm telling you the fact. You must tell that this is the income, this is the expenditure, and you got this year this much amount of loss. There is no necessity for you to get fear. There is no necessity for you to get frightened. You have to tell that. And in this context, we have to take into account one proverb, accounting proverb. Anticipate no profits, but be prepared for losses. You have to inform that to the owners or managers. So don't anticipate any profits in the beginning. Be prepared for losses. Automatically, when you are preparing for losses, automatically that thing, it will lead you to gain profits, to get profits. So convention of conservatism or prudence, it will tell that the accountant must be open. He should not hide. Okay, he should be a clear-cut person. This is how you will come across the accounting postulates. With this, I'm closing, and tomorrow we are going to take into account the next important topic. Thank you.